Chapter 28. The word of Jehovah came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyre, Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a god, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art man and not God. Though thou didst set thy heart as the heart of God, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that is hidden from thee. By thy wisdom and by thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of God, therefore, behold, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the death of them that are slain in the heart of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou art man, and not God, in the hand of him that woundeth thee. Thou shalt die the death of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers. For I have spoken it, saith the Lord Jehovah. Moreover, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation over the king of Tyre, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty. Thou wast in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, the topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was in thee. In the day that thou wast created they were prepared. Thou wast the anointed cherub that covereth, and I set thee, so that thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till unrighteousness was found in thee. By the abundance of thy traffic they filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore have I cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I have destroyed thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thy heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I have cast thee to the ground. I have laid thee before kings, that they may behold thee. By the multitude of thine iniquities, in the unrighteousness of thy traffic, thou hast profaned thy sanctuaries. Therefore have I brought forth a fire from the midst of thee. It hath devoured thee, and I have turned thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the peoples shall be astonished at thee. Thou art become a terror, and thou shalt never more have any being. And the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face towards Sidon, and prophesy against it, and say, Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Behold, I am against thee, O Sidon, and I will be glorified in the midst of thee, and they shall know that I am Jehovah, when I shall have executed judgments in her, and shall be sanctified in her. For I will send pestilence into her, and blood into her streets, and the wounded shall fall in the midst of her, with the sword upon her on every side. And they shall know that I am Jehovah. And there shall be no more a pricking briar unto the house of Israel, nor a hurting thorn of any that are round about them, that did despite unto them. And they shall know that I am the Lord Jehovah. Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, when I shall have gathered the house of Israel from the peoples among whom they are scattered, and shall be sanctified in them in the sight of the nations, then shall they dwell in their own land, which I gave to my servant Jacob, and they shall dwell securely therein. Yea, they shall build houses and plant vineyards, and shall dwell securely, when I have executed judgments upon all those that do them despite round about them. And they shall know that I am Jehovah their God. End of chapter 28. Chapter 29. In the 10th year, in the 10th month, in the 12th day of the month, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Pharaoh king of Egypt, and prophesy against him, and against all Egypt. Speak and say, Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh king of Egypt, the great monster that lieth in the midst of his rivers, that hath said, My river is mine own, and I have made it for myself. And I will put hooks in thy jaws, and I will cause the fish of thy rivers to stick unto thy scales, and I will bring thee up out of the midst of thy rivers, with all the fish of thy rivers which stick unto thy scales. And I will cast thee forth into the wilderness, thee and all the fish of thy rivers. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, thou shalt not be brought together nor gathered. I have given thee for food to the beasts of the earth, and to the birds of the heavens. And all the inhabitants of Egypt shall know that I am Jehovah, because they have been a staff of reed to the house of Israel. When they took hold of thee by the hand, thou didst break, and didst rend all their shoulders, and when they leaned upon thee, thou brakest, and madest all their loins to be at a stand. Therefore thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Behold, I will bring a sword upon thee, and will cut off from thee man and beast, and the land of Egypt shall be a desolation and a waste. And they shall know that I am Jehovah, because he hath said, The river is mine, and I have made it. Therefore, behold, I am against thee, and against thy rivers, and I will make the land of Egypt an utter waste and desolation, from the tower of Savannah even unto the border of Ethiopia. No foot of man shall pass through it, nor foot of beast shall pass through it, neither shall it be inhabited 40 years. And I will make the land of Egypt a desolation in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and her cities among the cities that are laid waste shall be a desolation 40 years. And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and will disperse them through the countries. For thus saith the Lord Jehovah, At the end of 40 years will I gather the Egyptians from the peoples whither they were scattered, and I will bring back the captivity of Egypt, and will cause them to return into the land of Pathros, into the land of their birth, and they shall be there a base kingdom. It shall be the basest of the kingdoms. neither shall it any more lift itself up above the nations, and I will diminish them, that they shall no more rule over the nations. And it shall be no more the confidence of the house of Israel, bringing iniquity to remembrance, when they turn to look after them, and they shall know that I am the Lord Jehovah. And it came to pass, in the 27th year, in the 1st month, in the 1st day of the month, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, caused his army to serve a great service against Tyre. Every head was made bald, and every shoulder was worn. Yet had he no wages, nor his army from Tyre, for the service that he had served against it. Therefore thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Behold, I will give the land of Egypt unto Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall carry off her multitude, and take her spoil, and take her prey, and it shall be the wages for his army. I have given him the land of Egypt as his recompense for which he served, because they wrought for me, saith the Lord Jehovah. In that day will I cause a horn to bud forth unto the house of Israel, and I will give thee the opening of the mouth in the midst of them, and they shall know that I am Jehovah. End of chapter 29. Chapter 30. The word of Jehovah came again unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy, and say, Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Wail ye, alas, for the day is near, even the day of Jehovah is near. It shall be a day of clouds, a time of the nations. And a sword shall come upon Egypt, and anguish shall be in Ethiopia, when the slain shall fall in Egypt, and they shall take away her multitude, and her foundations shall be broken down. Ethiopia, and Put, and Lud, and all the mingled people, and Cub, and the children of the land that is in league, shall fall with them by the sword. Thus saith Jehovah, They also that uphold Egypt shall fall, and the pride of her power shall come down. From the tower of Savina shall they fall in it by the sword, saith the Lord Jehovah. And they shall be desolate in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and her cities shall be in the midst of the cities that are wasted. And they shall know that I am Jehovah, when I have set a fire in Egypt, and all her helpers are destroyed. In that day shall messengers go forth from before me in ships, to make the careless Ethiopians afraid, and there shall be anguish upon them, as in the day of Egypt, for lo, it cometh. Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, I will also make the multitude of Egypt to cease by the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon. He and his people with him, the terrible of the nations, shall be brought in to destroy the land, and they shall draw their swords against Egypt, and fill the land with the slain. And I will make the rivers dry, and will sell the land into the hand of evil men, and I will make the land desolate, and all that is therein, by the hand of strangers. I, Jehovah, have spoken it. Thus saith the Lord Jehovah, I will also destroy the idols, and I will cause the images to cease from Memphis, and there shall be no more a prince from the land of Egypt. And I will put a fear in the land of Egypt, and I will make Pathros desolate, and will set a fire in Zoan, and will execute judgments upon No, and I will pour my wrath upon Sin, the stronghold of Egypt, and I will cut off the multitude of No, and I will set a fire in Egypt. Sin shall be in great anguish, and No shall be broken up, and Memphis shall have adversaries in the daytime. The young men of Avon and of Pibeseth shall fall by the sword, and these cities shall go into captivity. At Tehaphnehes also the day shall withdraw itself, when I shall break there the yokes of Egypt, and the pride of her power shall cease in her. As for her, a cloud shall cover her, and her daughters shall go into captivity. Thus will I execute judgments upon Egypt, and they shall know that I am Jehovah. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 1st month, in the 7th day of the month, that the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have broken the arm of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and lo, it hath not been bound up, to apply healing medicines, to put a bandage, to bind it, that it be strong to hold the sword. Therefore thus saith the Lord Jehovah, Behold, I am against Pharaoh king of Egypt, and will break his arms, the strong arm, and that which was broken, and I will cause the sword to fall out of his hand. And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and will disperse them through the countries. And I will strengthen the arms of the king of Babylon, and put my sword in his hand. But I will break the arms of Pharaoh, and he shall groan before him with the groanings of a deadly wounded man. And I will hold up the arms of the king of Babylon, and the arms of Pharaoh shall fall down, and they shall know that I am Jehovah, when I shall put my sword into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall stretch it out upon the land of Egypt. And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and disperse them through the countries, and they shall know that I am Jehovah. End of chapter 30.